So, lads, today we're going to be breaking down the Indiana Fever game. We're going to be breaking down the Indiana Fever game, and I rewatched the game. I rewatched the whole thing, and there's a lot of takes, a lot more bad than good. But there's only one good take. There's only one good thing, and I remember watching last year's games, and if you guys don't know the way I watch games, when I react and my initial reactions to Indiana Fever games, a lot of games I watch are initial reactions. If I'm watching a game off stream, I'm taking notes. And if I'm rewatching, I am taking notes. And I do actually have, I can kind of look back. I looked back in a couple of videos where I kind of talked about this type of thing last year. I talked about these type of games and obviously watch back my videos so I haven't kept any of the notes. But yeah, this was a type of a game that we have not seen yet. Genuinely, something we haven't seen in 2 years. And if you guys agree, subscribe. We're so close to 50k. We're trying to hit 48k. If we're going to try to hit 48k by the end of the week, by next week. The Fever play on Wednesday. They play tomorrow and they play Wednesday. We can hit 48k by Wednesday because we only hit 46k. It's not even been a week. So if we can do that in a week to 48, we're trying for 50 by the end of June. So, anyway, we got to talk about this. So, the Indiana Fever, like, they do not function well on offensively without Caitlin Clark on the ball. That is just a given. They don't get good shots. They don't get good shots in like at all. Like, there's genuinely just no good shots are generated. Like, the team hit a lot of shots. Kelsey Mitchell hit some crazy shots. And in fairness, Kelsey Mitchell, up until she hit that unbelievable shot, I'll say this to give them the lead, Kelsey Mitchell was horrendous up to that point. But in fairness, she hit the biggest shot in the game, which is obviously one of the most important things, that she did hit the biggest shot in the game for that team. Lexi Hull is Lexi Hull. She does what she does. And this team's got grit. And like, we can talk about all the X's and O's, and you know what? I'm not going to make this a negative video. I'm going to make this a positive video. This team's got grit. This team didn't have grit last year. Because Carl Smesko, I was watching like the Caitlin Clark clips and kind of skipping through his offense and everything. Carl Smesko is a really, really good coach. Like, the Atlanta Dream have an ability to drag teams down. And I'm not necessarily saying drag teams down to their level, because I actually do think they have a bit of talent. But they have the ability to just drag teams out of their game and impose themselves on other teams that I think is going to make them awkward to play against. I don't think the Atlanta Dream are contenders, but I do think, I've said it from the start of the year, I think with the way they play, they're going to maybe get a scalp or two. Like, they could very easily go 2-2 against the Liberty. They've already got a scalp off Indiana. They're going to probably get a scalp off the Aces, and it's really difficult to judge the Indiana Fever playing as a team whose goal was to drag them down, and succeeded in dragging them down to their level. Like, not only was that their goal, they succeeded in it. Natasha Howard is the Michael Jordan and the Alyssa Smiths. They actually have, they have an ability now to score when neither Caitlin Clark or Aliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell are playing well. And like, we saw nobody outside of these three, except maybe Lexi Hull, play well in the first game against them. But now, this is a basketball team. This is a team that I don't think are going to be in the finals. I think they win a playoff round, and they give somebody a tough matchup in round two. Round two being best of 5, it could be a bit tougher. And I don't think they're going to be champions. I cannot see them beating. I think the Indiana Fever, they're not as easy to game plan for as last year. They're easier to game plan for, or they're not as easy, but they're still not difficult to game plan for. Like, they're not going. You can hold them to a lot less points if you just take Caitlin Clark out of the game. If you take Caitlin Clark out of the game, if you stop the run and gun, you stop the fast break, you slow them down, they become a bang average team. The difference is that last year they won. I'm gonna say they won 2 games slowing down. Like, I don't think they slowed down the first Chicago Sky win. They won against the Atlanta Dream twice, and the Dream were awkward last year. One was the Aliyah Boston Master. Both were Aliyah Boston Master classes. And then they beat the Atlanta Dream 4 out of 4 times last year. I think they swept them. They swept them. there was one they won in June, kind of in late June, where it was right before I think they beat the Mercury. I think, was it the Friday when they played the Mercury? On the Sunday? No, it wasn't. I'm trying to even just think of dates. But Caitlin Clark ran the show in one of those games. But they needed a masterclass from Leah Boston to win playing slow. And we saw them play slow at times, as in they play fast, get a lead, be slow, will come back, then play fast and win. We saw that plenty of times during the year from the Indiana Fever. We saw the team really struggle with Erica Wheeler running the one. However, this team has enough talent and they're gritty enough that they can win ugly. Last year's team could not win ugly. They would not have won ugly against this team. They would not have won. And there was no way. The more I watch it, the more I'm like, there was no way that the team. There was two reasons. The referees were the reason there was no rhythm in the game. The referees ruined that game. Like, from a viewer standpoint, the referees ruined that game. Like, absolutely. It is, like, no question about it. The refs ruined it. Like, there was not even, like, I just saw something there and it was like freedom of movement is what's going to make the game more enjoyable to watch. There was no freedom of movement. Caitlin Clark could not move. Like, Caitlin Clark got called for a phantom foul. She got called for a phantom foul on Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray just jumped. Caitlin was nowhere near her. She got called for a phantom foul, and she got called for a foul where Ryan Howard had two hands on her jersey, and she literally knocked Ryan Howard's hand off her jersey. Ryan Howard grabbed her jersey and she knocked the hand off. She pushed to get the hand off. They called a foul for getting someone off her jersey. Like, these referees wanted to make the game about them. They wanted to make the game about them. And it stopped every single thing. And they still won. There are huge players coming in. And again, Dawana Bonner will figure it out. I trust Dawana Bonner will figure it out. And even still, just having her there as a vet presence is good for the team, even if she doesn't figure it out. Because let's be real. There was nobody else under that contract that the Fever would want. And again, if you ask me, even during the offseason, would I rather have Janelle Salone or Dawana Bonner? Janelle Salone was my number one free agent target. She was my number one free agent target, even at the time, and even in hindsight, obviously, it looks pretty bad. Or it looks like you take that. But I do think Dawana Bonner will average 7.5, 8 points per game. And I'm fine with that. If Natasha Howard's putting up 13, 14 a game, you're fine with that. Natasha Howard is a player you can get the ball to with 7 seconds to go on the shot clock and she can score. The problem was yesterday is that they gave the ball to Natasha Howard a little bit early, if we're being honest. They gave the ball to her a little bit early. But at the end of the day, she still went and cooked. She was still able to cook. And look, Lexi Hull is Lexi Hull. Like, you know what you're getting from Lexi Hull in any game. She's going to give energy. She's shooting the ball well. She's actually playing aggressive. Last season, the only shots she took were 3-pointers. This season, she's pulling up from mid. She hit an off-dribble 3 in Ryan Howard's face. Like, she's attacking the basket. She's still cutting really well. So, like, she's playing really well. But again, one of the biggest additions is Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham is your do-it-all player, can play all 5 positions, can guard all 5 positions. There's nothing Sophie Cunningham does other than shoot the ball particularly well. Like, she is a very, very, very average at everything player. Slightly above average maybe at certain things. But you can make the argument she is average at pretty much everything on the court. And that's fine. It is fine to be a player that is completely average at everything. Because you can fill in any sort of role. Not only that, she's tough. She's gritty. Like, these players, a lot of these players, if you don't, like, this is, I think, one of the big reasons why they did what they did and brought in certain players. Because you're looking at champions in, for lack of a better word, the dead ball era. You know what we call when we call in the NBA the dead ball era? Like, when just basically it was barely even basketball. It was just when the freaking Nets were making the finals and teams were scoring in the 80s. Like, you have got, I'm going to call the pre-Clark as the dead ball era. You have got 1, 2, 3, 4 champions from the dead ball era. Sophie Cunningham made a finals. She made a finals in the dead ball era with the Mercury. That Mercury team were tough, gritty, and they can all play that style of ball. And the Indiana Fever were not able to play that style of ball. Like, I don't want them to play that style of basketball. Nobody should want the Indiana Fever to play that style of basketball. Absolutely nobody should. But the scary part is they can. I don't think they can do it that well. Like, I think that if they try to play that style of basketball, they're going to lose a lot more games than they otherwise would. But the fact is they can. The Indiana Fever can play WNBA basketball right now. Because Kelsey Mitchell is not... Like, Kelsey Mitchell's natural instinct is dumb basketball. I'm not saying she's a dumb player. There's a difference between a player's instincts being to do dumb things and a player being dumb and a player doing... Like, that is what her instincts are. If she is allowed free reign, she will do a lot of dumb shit. However, if we're being honest, it's a... when it comes to Kelsey Mitchell, we can see from last season, we saw her, if you watched her in China, she can be a super smart off-the-ball cutter as well. She just likes to get hers. She just likes to get hers, and the more she has the ball in her hands, the worse. The worse it is. But anyway, yeah. That is... that's pretty much it, lads. Look, yesterday's game was awful. Yesterday's game was absolutely awful, and there's no excuse for that. It was freaking awful. But, yeah. Anyway, you win ugly. This is a team that had almost zero ability to win ugly, and when they won ugly, it was due to an Aliyah Boston masterclass, the only times they ever won ugly last year. And this year, they won ugly despite Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aliyah Boston all stinking it up for 3.5 quarters. But anyway, I'll see you guys.